So thank you, Olivier, for the warm introduction. So I'm Olivier Beaujard from Semtech, also the chair of the board of LoRa Alliance. And I'm pleased today, I'm sure while you're reading the slide, to introduce a unique panel, because that's one of the first time, I would say, we have been working together. Usually you see here on the chart kind of competing technology, not everywhere, but sometimes we do compete. But here we found really a very good reason to strongly collaborate. So that's the purpose of this slide. And to do that, I would like to introduce in order briefly, and after they do a short presentation. From left, you have Navod from Wi-Fi Hello Alliance. Go ahead.
Thank you, Olivier, for the introduction. I'm Navod Suraweera, representing Morse Micro. We are a part of Wi-Fi Alliance. So Wi-Fi Halo is the sub 1 GHz adaptation of Wi-Fi, and I'm echoing what Andy and Consuela mentioned about 1 hour ago. So we are providing higher data rates over longer range and superior power consumption. And in our main applications, we expect to be healthcare, industrial IoT, and also security camera, any application that requires camera or imaging as high data rate requirements. So in the next 4 to 5 years, it is expected that Wi-Fi Halo will sell about close to 100 million devices in the field, and it's accelerating in USA and slowly starting in Europe as well.
Okay, thank you, Navod. Next, it's Phil. We give the floor for Wi-Sun Alliance.
Thank you. I'm Phil Beecher. I'm President and CEO of Wi-Sun Alliance. We are yet another industry alliance operating in sub-gigahertz bands. Our background is really from electrical utilities and smart grid deployments. So large number of nodes installed in North America, South America, particularly in utility networks. Quite a few meters in Japan, about 65 million or so. And we've got growing market representation in India and other places. And like, I think, all of the technologies represented here, you sort of might start with one particular use case that's most important, and then it starts getting adapted in places that you're not necessarily aware of. So we're seeing things like earthquake monitoring and even smart agriculture, things like fish farms and shrimp farms, for example. So we're growing, continue to grow.
Thank you, Phil. So next is Heavy from Z-Wave Alliance.
They gave us 3 microphones for 5. Never mind. Hi, I'm Avi Rosenthal. I'm with the Z-Wave Alliance, the CEO of the Z-Wave Alliance. We're very glad to be here. It's a lot of fun being at a conference that not normally you would see multiple RF protocols, multiple RF technologies. The Things Conference was kind enough to invite us all. And we're going to talk a little bit about why we're all working together. But the Z-Wave system has been around for 20 plus years. We have more than 350 million devices out in the field. We are interoperable. We are secure and encrypted. We have 2 different flavors, Classic, which is your classic mesh, and Z-Wave Long Range, which enables full bandwidth transmissions up to 2.2 kilometers. We operate in about 80 different countries around the world. We've got 400 plus members as part of the alliance, and we are a completely open standard. We are a standards development organization with a completely open, anybody can join and get full access to the source code. So that's sort of what differentiates us.
And next one is Joe from RAN RFID Alliance.
Yes, I'm Joe Preishuber-Pfluegl. I'm representing here the RAN Alliance. I'm head of regulatory affairs. Personally, I'm in the RFID work already for 30 years, 20 years spending on regulatory topics. Meanwhile, the chairman of the ETSI group for RFID. And as a RAN alliance, we probably have the highest volumes of items there. I mean, UHF RFID, these are passive tags, they have no battery. And in last year, we has shipped 50 billion. Since the technology has been developed, we probably have shipped 250 billion. This is also a very high number of items. It is used in the supply chain heavily. So if you go to all these grocery stores, you will see these RFID tags on the items. Those flying Delta, you may know the Delta air tags. You always know where your luggage is. This is also RFID technology, and there are a couple of other cases. And yeah, I guess we all share that we are all around the 900 megahertz band globally, depending on the region, whether it's 865 or a little bit more. But I guess that's all we have in common here.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Maybe I go last in the order. So probably you've heard about LoRa Alliance, or between the entrance and here, maybe you have seen 100 times the word LoRa, I suppose, on different booths. So I'm leading this LoRa Alliance along with Alper, who's the CEO. He was presenting this morning. I'm chairing the board of LoRa Alliance, and we try to do the count among the kind of 450 million LoRa chip that has been shipped since LoRa exists, cumulative. We estimated 120, 125 million are LoRaWAN, so are using LoRaWAN protocols, the open source protocol. So that's not bad in 10 years. On the Alliance, you see the typical use case that we do naturally. You have many examples here. Everywhere you need to be long range, low power. We are a suitable solution. But here, why we are here, you remember yesterday during the intro by Beecher and Johan, they asked, why are you here? So we ask us the same question, why are we here? We are not lost, it's on purpose. We are the common denominator between all of us. We use radio technology, and we use spectrum. That is unlicensed spectrum, so that makes this radio quite suitable for many use cases. But we have a common, I would say, common denominator that is happening in the US, and I will ask Phil maybe to explain the situation. So can you explain for people in the room what is happening in the US and why we have collaborated together?
I can try, and I'm sure Avi will fill in the gaps.
Yeah. If you need help, you're there.
There is a piece of spectrum from 902 to 928 megahertz, which has a set of rules for their usage. Part of those rules are what are called Part 15. The Part 15 rules are what all of us work to. There is a company currently incarnated as NextNav. Those of you that have been around for 15, 20 years will have heard of Progeny, which was the last incarnation. And they would very much like to use this piece of spectrum, allegedly for indoor GPS, but probably to provide additional cellular services. So therefore, they have said, they have issued a filing to repurpose part of the band to allow very high power uplink and downlink suitable for running 5G inside, which of course is going to seriously impact all of the devices that are currently deployed. And an example from my point of view, many of the US utility companies are using frequency hopping wireless mesh networks for their smart meter and some of their distribution automation networks. So, and we're talking about, sort of 8 million by Duke Energy and 4 million for Florida Power and Light, Miami, all the smart meters, all the street lights are using frequency hopping mesh. So this is going to have a very serious impact on us, and I'll leave it to the others to talk about the impact on them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Phil, and that's a good transition to my next question for Navod, as we say. Can you explain really what is at stake in the US and what are typically the type of service that US citizens are enjoying today that might stop?
Yeah, first of all, actually, we need to be thankful for FCC to having the foresight and opening this band, this much wide band, 26 megahertz wide band for the unlicensed spectrum, and providing the necessary safe harbor rules for these technologies to thrive, for this whole ecosystem to thrive, and improve the U.S. economy, improve the quality of life of U.S. citizens, improving the productivity and efficiency. So we have, with these Part 15 unlicensed technologies being used in utilities, smart agriculture, smart industry, home security, home automation, as well as public security, public safety applications. As well as, in addition to the normal day-to-day people's life, this is being heavily used in the government applications as well, in the Department of Defense, Food and Drug Administration, Federal Aviation, or the FAA, and all these departments use these Part 15 technologies to improve the efficiency, tracking, reduce the wastage as well. So altogether, it's not just a space of hobbyists, this Part 15. It's a very thriving and very mature ecosystem that that contributes significantly to the economic development of the United States.
Okay, thank you, Navod. And maybe to complete the picture, Joe, can you summarize here for the audience what is our collective ask that we did to the regulator? Because that's the title of the panel, Working with Regulator. And of course, we have met a couple of times with the FCC here, people in this room. So can you summarize?
I mean, the collective ask is definitely to protect our applications, to protect our investments. As I said, we had billions of tags already shipped in the US alone. It's 80 billion tags. We have supply chain. We have US Department of Defense is used in multiple technologies. And I said I'm 30 years in the RFID business. I have colleagues, particularly now working on the regulatory side, which are there 35 years actually, which is when Part 15 was established, and then years later, NextNav or the other previous companies came along and said, okay, we want to do something on positioning here. This was, I guess, 1995 or something like this. And they said, okay, you can do it, provided that any interference from Part 15 doesn't make any issue for you, and you get certain frequency bands. They didn't establish to install anything for 30 years. This safe harbor clause was a pre-requirement that they would even be allowed to use the band, and now what they are asking for is high power, 1,000 times higher power. They want to remove the safe harbor clause because they see they can't use the band with Part 15 there, so they basically want to wipe us out of the Part 15 band and maybe of half of the band, and we have out-of-band emissions, all this stuff. So they basically want to grab something which is actually not available to be grabbed. And this is the big issue, I think. And it's just about raising money, making what they have much more valuable by trying to wipe out other technologies.
Okay, maybe to say different, in one of our latest meeting or call with FCC, we said clearly we want you to stop the NextNav demand. You want it to, okay, don't consider it, so reject it. That was our clear request. But also we gave example because we are coexisting in this band for a while together. We all respect the same rule and we perfectly coexist. We are not preventing anyone else to come and coexist with us. That's not the purpose. We just want not to change the rule because that's a different game. But maybe to complete also this coexistence topic, because that's pretty important that people understand we very nicely collaborate and coexist every day. Avi, do you have example of other region, other country where we do coexist, or our example where our respective technology coexist nicely?
Yes, so the coexistence, the one bright spot, if you could, out of all of this controversy that unfortunately has unfolded, is the fact that these members of all of these alliances now can sit on the stage together and have much more civil discourse, and we have much more communication between us, not just between our technologies, but between our alliances themselves. The beauty of this is that for many years, the FCC Part 15B rules have dictated that each of us communicate within the band in such a way that we don't step on each other's toes. And that's worked beautifully for, I think, almost 30 years now. This upsetting of this apple cart has the potential to not only turn friends into enemies, but it also could spread. The way that each of these alliances and the way that each of these technologies communicate today is that when there is a problem, there's an open dialogue between us. And part of the power of this conference, for instance, is that open dialogue. The concept of competing technologies having civil discourse is a little strange in today's world. But here at this conference and other times when we have the opportunity, we've been able to bring our minds together and sort of fight for a common cause. Another organization that's managed to do that within America is the Connected Device Coalition. The Connected Device Coalition came out of the US Chamber of Commerce. It was a gathering of a multitude of industries that came together that all use this frequency. And now we all have conversations with one another to understand not only how we operate within certain bands, but how our technologies can complement one another. And so the one thing that I've learned out of this entire process is it's better to have the conversation, the dialogue within the room than it is to sort of look at them across the way there in the spectrum and wonder what they're working on and how we're going to beat each other up.
Thank you, Avi. Phil, do you have other example you would like to add to complete explanations?
Well, I'd certainly like to reinforce that message. It's the people on this stage, well, number one, the Part 15 rules must be pretty good because we have successfully coexisted together for quite a long time. I mean, both Navod and I are involved in IEEE 802. We've done coexistence studies between SubGHz Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi stuff because we don't want there to be any surprises. I know with Joseph, there's been activities within TG28 in about SRDs and with LoRa Alliance as well. So I think it's very important that competing technologies or overlapping technologies maintain that dialogue in a friendly way in the standards environment. And I think each of us has unique application areas where we excel and some where we overlap. And it's important to keep that conversation going.
Thank you, Phil. So I hope we have clearly explained the situation, what we are doing, why we are doing, what we are expecting. So, of course, we continue working on that to, I would say, defend the proper usage of the band. Is there any question from the audience before we close the panel? Well, can you, yeah, maybe we have to give.
General question to all participants. So, firstly, really important work. Thank you for doing it. General question to each of you. What can we do to put more weight behind your energy and effort?
Only because I'm holding the microphone, I'll speak. Call your congressman. Call your senator. Most of what is going on at the FCC right now is unknown not only to the general public, but to most of the companies that are going to be affected by this. I personally have conversation almost daily with new companies that approach me and say, hey, there's this NextNav thing. Is that for real? Is that a thing? So I would strongly suggest that you get involved in whatever alliance may be appropriate for your individual industry, whether it's the security industry, the tolling industry, the Department of Defense. There are so many industries involved with this. But then speak to your local representatives. Your government officials are the ones that we're targeting right now, mostly because the decisions that are made at the FCC level rarely go through Congress. The FCC typically makes rulings on their own because they are part of the executive branch, and if you know anything about the American government, especially these days, the executive branch is pretty much in charge. And let me apologize to each and every one of you as the only American on this stage. I'm sorry. But call your representatives and your senators.
Yeah, and to help on that, if you are a LoRa Alliance member, we have done a template letter. So you can use as well, replace LoRa Alliance by your Alliance name. So people can send, customize, send with the right name and so on. So that's available to everyone. Was there another question from the room? Olivier, can you give the microphone?
Hello, thank you. First of all, thank you for the talk, really nice. I'm wondering while listening to you guys, if there is already kind of a contingency plan between the alliances in the worst case scenario.
I guess we are not really planning for this worst case scenario. I mean, we have just met, so all 5 of us alliances have met with the FCC 2 weeks ago. Some of our members met with the FCC a week ago. We have the dialogue. The FCC told us, gave us ideas, what they need in order to help us to defend. So the FCC is really neutral, and the FCC is also seeing an issue here. But it is important that we, as current users of the band, provide evidence where we see the problem. Because if we don't see a problem, what NextNav says, then it's easy, we can go ahead. But we see lots of problems, and we continuously bring this forward. We as a RAIN Alliance kicked off now some simulation studies because the FCC asked us to do so. We will have measurements today evening at 7 p.m. There's a webinar from a security group that was meeting with the FCC probably 3 weeks ago. They provided simulation measurement results highlighting all the issues. And so if you're interested, I would need to look up what it is. But today at 7, there's a webinar on this document they submitted to FCC 2 weeks ago. So there's continuous things. So I don't think that there is this worst case scenario will happen because we are so many people pushing it. We are these 5 alliances from from the RAIN technology, UHF technology. We have the road tolling organization. So EasyPass stands up and goes directly to the FCC. We have US Department of Defense, or now War, I don't know, that go there. So there's the FDA because they're using RAIN technology. So there are so many moving forward. There could only be a non-technical decision. That is the only risk we have, I would say.
But then, as we said, so we fight to win first. That's good to know. And I think I don't see a contingency plan will be that you have to reprogram. That's why we put figure here. That's worldwide. But we have the same that we send to FCC. It's a public document. Everything you send to FCC is becoming public. You see the volume in the US. So that will be a huge, huge cost that we estimated in some document just to retrofit the LoRa 1 in US. It's tens of millions of units, just LoRa 1. So that will be a contingency plan, but also it will not happen overnight. There is a process. We talk to former FCC chair in one-to-one, how it works. Then you can go to court. There are still many milestones, but we work here really to discourage FCC to move forward on that. And also maybe to have alternative solution because they need a business continuity or another solution for GPS. So if another company will win, that will stop NextNav in that case. Phil, final word. I think we have 1 minute for conclusion.
Okay. I'm not sure it should be the final word, but we're talking here about one company who has filed a petition, a company that has not managed to deliver what it's promised for 15 years, trying to get something that will create an impact costing billions of dollars and sort of certainly long-term damage to critical infrastructure in the US. And I think that's the message that should go to the congressman, is why should the US bail out this one company? That would be my view.
Okay.
So if we want to end on a positive note, what this has proven is that it is possible for these various alliances and technology companies to all come together for a common cause. And I would say that in each country around the world, there is always a question of spectrum management, there's always a question of regulation, no matter what it may be. It gives me great hope that we're able to come together for this problem in the United States, but it translates into any other issue that we may have in a country someplace else. Those lines of communication are now drawn, those walls have now been taken down, and we now have the ability as an industry, as the wireless Internet of Things industry, to tackle these issues around the world. And I think that's the positive that comes out of all of this.
Thank you, Avi. I think we have to conclude. So let's applaud the panel speaker. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you indeed.